night, cutting through the dark, shining the light. Variety of topics under his eye. DEA's the name, straight up, no lie.
Hi, howdy, how the hell y'all doing? I'm Dan and welcome back to the DEA where Dan explains all. Today we're going to be taking a look into another BigBankz video, the one titled Drug Dealer's Abandoned Mansion. I'm going to let you guys know all the stuff that I found. I'm going to show you some court documents, actual court footage of the drug dealer himself when he was charged back in 2018, all the stuff that BigBankz left out. I'm also going to show you photos of the house back before it was abandoned when it actually looked really nice. And we're going to look into the father, the mother, and the sister, so we're going to get to know the whole family. First, we're going to look at the intro to BigBankz's video in case you haven't seen the video. If you haven't seen it, the link will be down below so you can watch the full video. And we're also going to show you some of the stuff that he missed about, where the guy was doing the drug dealing. A lot of people wanted to know that, where he was growing the marijuana, and some indications of exactly where it happened, like some paraphernalia and stuff like that he never mentioned, but it is in his video. So let's go ahead and see what his video looked like first, and then we'll jump into it.
While driving through the state of New Jersey, we noticed a long driveway leading to a house that seemed to be abandoned. This once thriving mansion was hiding secrets that would shock the community. In 2018, this home was thrust into the spotlight when a police raid revealed a disturbing reality. The man who called this place home was an unemployed recluse living inside the attic of his elderly mother's home, trapped in a web of his own making. One day, authorities received a tip on the man's secret operation, and inside, police would uncover a staggering 79 marijuana plants flourishing in the attic. But that was just the beginning. They found an arsenal of weapons, machine guns, handguns, and nearly $7,000 in counterfeit money, tools of a life lived on the edge, a life that spiraled into chaos. His actions would lead him to a 6-year prison sentence, but the cost was far greater. After his arrest, his elderly mother passed away, leaving this house to decay with everything still inside. So join me today and let's see what's left.
So the first clue was obviously Bankz giving us the state, which was New Jersey, which we can also see on the picture containers in this room. They say NJ in the code. From there, it was a simple Google search for New Jersey man marijuana in mom's attic, which led me to this article and a court video. Make sure to stay tuned till the end to see the perpetrator in court. We find out where he is today, who currently owns the property where he grew his Mary Jane, as well as some things from Bankz' video he missed that was part of the marijuana growing operation. The article reads, an unemployed 46-year-old man pleaded guilty to having a machine gun and growing marijuana in the attic of his mother's Kinnelon home. Richard J. Spielman, who is accused of stashing an arsenal of guns in the Sawmill Road house, admitted he maintained a marijuana production facility there and to the unlawful possession of a machine gun on Monday in Superior Court, Morristown. The machine gun was one of 9 firearms authorities found in the attic when they executed a search warrant on March 11th, according to court records. Morris County Assistant Prosecutor Erin Callahan recommended Spielman be sentenced September 7th to 6 years in state prison following the plea. He must serve 3 years before parole consideration. Spielman also agreed during his plea before Judge Catherine Enright to forfeiture of $6,799 found during the search. The state also has filed for forfeiture of his Jeep, but Spielman will fight the vehicle loss, defense lawyer Marcy McMahon said. Spielman admitted he cultivated 79 marijuana plants with special lights and a ventilation system in the attic. He said he was addicted to prescription medication and used some of the marijuana and sold the rest. The machine gun, Spielman told the judge, was lawfully obtained in Pennsylvania, but he did not have permits or authority to possess it in New Jersey. Under questioning by McMahon, he said he kept the machine gun on property his father owns in Pennsylvania, but after the property was burglarized, he took it to the Kinnelon home, or he took it to Kinnelon. Spielman will also have to pay more than $3,200 in fines and penalties when sentenced. Spielman's girlfriend, who was also found in the attic room and arrested at the time, will have charges against her dismissed after he told the judge she was not involved in his illegal activities. Spielman was held in the Morris County Jail after his arrest in March by a judge who said he potentially posed a danger to the public because of the volatile mix of weapons and drugs. It is illegal to possess machine guns and modified weapons and fully automatic weapons without the appropriate permitting, Superior Court Judge Thomas Critchley said in March. These weapons are of course highly lethal. In addition, they are possessed in conjunction with a fairly sophisticated drug operation apparently operated for profit, Critchley said. The investigation by Kinnelon and Butler police was launched when a confidential informant notified them of the marijuana sales. During the search, police found numerous guns in plain sight, a fully automatic machine gun equipped with a silencer, an AR-style 22 caliber assault firearm, and a loaded Beretta under his pillow, according to court records and authorities. Authorities found 79 plants in various growth stages and a bedroom walk-in closet, along with cardboard boxes filled with about 10 pounds of dried marijuana, with a $3,600 street value, records state. During a post-arrest interview, Spielman told police he lived in Wayne, but returned to live with his mother a few years ago. He said he became addicted to oxycodone and started growing and selling marijuana to make money, using his girlfriend's credit card and shopping at garden centers for materials, Callahan said. So now we have the name of the person in question, Richard Spielman, the road he was apprehended on, and the county and city as well, so I can deep dive and get the full story of the home and family. After we establish we are in the right home, we'll get to the court video and court documents on Richard, as well as the home and his mother, father, and sister. First, I found a listing for the home and found these pictures before it was vandalized. Here's the realtor listing from years ago, as you will see in the comparisons from then and now. It is in fact the same home and shows you how amazing this home looked before it was left to sit. Here we see the porch where Bankz entered and referenced the table and how there's probably a glass top, and in fact there was, as shown in the picture from the old listing, as you can see. Then he moves into the kitchen where he finds the dual fireplaces, or whatever they were, and as you can see they were actually hanging plants in them back in the day. And here's a wider view of the kitchen from Bankz. Then we see what it looked like before vandals. You can even see the cups he referenced hanging by the sink. Next we move to the entryway from BigBankz view, and you see the stairs from his perspective. Now from the realtor's perspective, as well as Bankz' view of the front door, now and then. Now we move into the living room with the sectional couch and see how it sits today and what it looked like before being abandoned. Then we finally move to the basement bar area, where as you can see, it's in disarray in these two pictures, which is a far cry from what it used to look like. This looks like it used to be the place to be on a Saturday night. Before we get into the crime and the people who lived here, here are a few more photos from the realtor. So now that we have established we are in the right house with the right address and the name of the perpetrator of the crime, I can use all this to find more information. So with his name and address, I was able to find the actual court information. As you can see at the top, the defendant is Richard J. Spielman, who was arrested 3/11/18 and charged with over 50 grams of marijuana. Now we can get to the judgment of conviction, which is 4 pages. He originally had a bunch of counts, but then it was reduced to the 2 charges of maintaining operating CDS production facility and unlawful possession of a machine gun. He was eligible for parole after 3 years, and he had already served 191 days, so he was actually most likely released after about 2.5 years, so most likely he was released in 2020 or 2021. Bankz stated that the mother died while he was in prison, but according to a post by Richard's sister, their mother did not pass until 2022, which we'll see later in the video. So I decided to search property records to figure out who owned the property in 2018 when he was arrested. Turns out it was owned by his father, Richard G. Spielman. The father is still alive by all reporting and was most recently known to live in Oxford, New Jersey. In the father's profile, I also found a list of previous addresses and known associates, including family. At the top of the associates list is his son, the drug dealer, Richard Spielman. And to the right is Rebecca Kerrigan, who happens to be his wife and the mother of the drug dealer. So I dug into Rebecca, who was originally Rebecca Randolph, until she married Richard and became a Spielman. Then later she became Kerrigan. As you can see, she lived in the Kinnelon address until she moved to Boca Raton, which happens to be where her daughter lives currently. This other document shows her also known as names, including the Spielman name as well as different middle initials, which is common. For example, my grandpa went by his middle name and used his legal first name as his middle name. It was common practice for people of that generation and before legal documents were more formal. As this court case shows, here in the early 2000s, she was a Kerrigan, but then we have proof of Paul remarrying, as it shows in his obituary, of Rebecca as his former wife. So now that we have established the location, mother and father, let's get back into the crimes committed and the final proof that will come from the daughter in a post to their mother after her passing. Because people like to say, I got the wrong house or the wrong people, etc., but her post brings the whole story together, so there's no doubt. Richard had some other small run-ins with the police prior to his 2018 arrest, such as shown here for carelessly driving, likely to endanger person or property, as well as a bit more serious one for simple assault, which could have been anything from threatening someone to shoving them. I couldn't find more information, but it wasn't mentioned in the court video, so I'm sure it was minor. Now, let's see how his day in court went and actually see the face of Richard J. Spielman.
Elizabeth Cervenak on behalf of Richard Spielman, who's standing to my left. The state was concerned with this defendant posing a danger to the community, himself, or other persons as a result of the seizure of items that were located in the room where he resided at Sawmill Road. The state believes, based upon all of these factors, that there is no combination of monetary or non-monetary conditions that would assure the defendant's appearance in court, safety of the community, or that he may obstruct or attempt to obstruct the criminal justice process.
So those possession of weapons during a CDS offense does not trigger no release recommendation. Rather, it triggered a higher level of monitoring and specifically one bump up.
I see.
The facts of this case, Your Honor, do not allege any violence, nor any threats of violence, nor any mention of weapons according to the confidential informant in terms of the search warrant, Your Honor. This, as Ms. Callahan indicated, this case arises out of a confidential informant who allegedly was purchasing marijuana from Mr. Spielman. During the debriefs, or there's no mention in the affidavit of probable cause that Mr. Spielman was in possession of weapons, that the confidential informant knew of any weapons that Mr. Spielman had.
These offenses in these circumstances, I find that the nature and circumstances of the offense make it clear and convincing to me that no amount of monetary bail or non-monetary conditions or combinations of monetary bail and conditions would reasonably achieve the goal of the safety of the community. He has a right to appeal this determination. That has to be done promptly within 7 days, and he has the right, as he does now, to have an attorney appointed to the public defender if he cannot afford one.
Now we know the suspect. Let's see a couple clips from the Bankz video that will corroborate the story from the sister about their life, and finally the grow equipment where the man committed his crimes.
Interesting. We got a stethoscope. Whoa, is this a stethoscope? Yeah, it is. Got a little stethoscope here. Family photos at the beach. Looks like they were traveling. Physician's travel guide. Maybe they were a doctor or a physician or something. What actually is that?
As you can see, we have a long vent tube, which would have been used in the grow room. It's attached to what I would assume is some sort of filter to help with the smell, and it's laying on top of a long grow light.
It's his bike, bro.
It is?
Yeah, or a bike.
Parts of it?
He crashed it, look.
Notice the pieces of wood wrapped in tinfoil? Classic grow trick is to use tinfoil as a reflective surface to give more light coverage for a better yield of crops. I assume he had an enclosed area wrapped with tinfoil and reflective surfaces, using those as a frame, which you will see more of here in a second inside the large walk-in closet, which is actually where he was growing his large crop of the devil's lettuce.
Oh. That's crazy. Yeah, he crashed the bike and probably hung it up.
There's a closet right there.
Yeah, this is definitely like a...
There's women's clothes in here too, though. Like dresses and whatnot.
So, who owns the property now? In 2024, it was still in the name of the father, Richard G. Spielman, who is believed to still be alive as I could not find any proof of his death. But even if he has passed on, the property would be left to his heirs, which would be his son and daughter. But in this document, you can see that it is scheduled to be foreclosed in just a couple weeks from the time of this video. It appears there is still a mortgage on the home, and the Nation Star Mortgage Company is about to take possession of the home since the mortgage has not been satisfied. So, where's Richard the dealer now? Boca Raton, where his mother was living when she passed and sister lives now. As you can see from previous addresses, they match up with a lot of the places in the history of mom and dad, so it seems he has always stayed near family. So, finally, let's see the post from the sister, which will tie the whole story together. Here you can see Rebecca in some photos posted by her daughter, and this lovely memorial post that went along with it. Sweet Home Alabama is what immediately comes to my mind regarding my mom. I can sing that song and every word all night long. Those who know me best get it 100% and are smiling with me. My mother, Rebecca Hollis Randolph, intelligent, beautiful, kind, generous, beyond stubborn, educated, a nurse, a caregiver, a wife, a mother, and last but not least, a loving grandmother. The list is long, it's lengthy and still incomplete. It just doesn't end with those adjectives or titles. How could it, though? She is and will forever be 80 and a half years old and someone who was fortunate to have had a blessed life. What's the takeaway when you lose a parent, a loved one? For me, it's the immediate reflection of their life and the life I shared with that person. I find myself as the child wanting to give it life, justice, meaning, and purpose. I guess it starts with who she is. She is a southern gal from Jasper, Alabama, and St. Simons Island, Georgia, who met a Navy boy from Jersey, my dad, Richard Spielman, in nursing school at St. Vincent's in Jacksonville, Florida. Married and had 2 children, for starters. Then it's what you'll remember, or choose to, starting with her love for life, travel, great food, and fine wine. What she stood for, or didn't, what she taught and instilled in me. Live your life, love and allow yourself to be loved, laugh, if even at yourself, have empathy for others, be kind, know right from wrong, don't be afraid to fail. It's part of the win in the end. Live your life by the golden rule. I was a fortunate child. I got to travel and experience the world with my parents and brother. Of all the fabulous countries, islands, and states we visited throughout my life, one of my favorite memories and food will always be her southern food, grits with butter, S&P, shrimp and grits, pretty much anything with a grit, fried green tomatoes, pimento cheese with a sliced tomato sandwich on white bread. No southerner would have it any other way. Okra, black-eyed peas, chicken, fried steak, sunflowers. She always had fresh cut flowers in her house, and so do I. Fresh squeezed orange juice and biscuits on a Sunday morning, watching a sunrise at least one time in your life, catching a sunset any chance you get, the hatching of turtles and watching hundreds of them swim into the Gulf of Mexico. She taught me how to be a hostess, set a proper table, and sit properly. Know to say yes ma'am and thank you. Act like a lady. Who's kidding? Who I'm still in school for that. The love of fine arts, music, and theater, endless Broadway shows from when I was a little girl, The Wiz, Annie, A Chorus Line, Cats, 3 times because it was so great we can't see it just once. The Kiss of a Spider-Woman, Victoria, Les Mis, Phantom, Rent, Grease, Evita, Wicked, and The Lion King, Little Mermaid, Miss Saigon, Guys and Dolls, Lord of the Dance. This is the short list. Sheesh. I was in awe at every show and loved every minute of it. Through all of our travels together, the greatest gift and most special place to me is the Gulf of Mexico, Marco Island, July 1982. Celebrating my grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary would turn into a place where we would celebrate birthdays, weddings, births, anniversaries, passings, and have annual summer vacations with friends and loved ones. The tradition continues to this day every July. Thank you, Mommy. My mother was remarkable even when we didn't see eye to eye. Lovely, smart, a beautiful, quick-witted, stubborn as an ox, and always wanted it her way, which wasn't always mine. Above all, she was and will always be my mother, a Southern belle who got some Jersey in her veins and didn't waver even until the end. She did it her way. Stay humble, be kind, believe in and embrace God, have grace, break this glass ceiling, keep the hustle, and never give up. Got you, Mama. Message received. Godspeed, Mom. I love you. Cheers to you as always. I will see you on the other side of the moon. 11/14/41 to 3/4/2022. Remember the stethoscope and all the doctor books? She was a nurse, as well as the mention of her meeting her dad, Richard Spielman, and traveling with her brother, who was also Richard, the main focus of this video. Also, all the mentions of Jersey, and mention of all the trips where they went annually, which lines up with all the photos in the home. Another case solved by the DEA. So if you find these cases informational, or you want to help investigate these cases, or you just enjoy watching them, go ahead and make sure you like and subscribe, help the channel out, and make sure to let me know down in the comments any other cases that you might want me to cover, so that way I can start looking into those as well. Other creators, whatever it might be. So go ahead and join the investigation squad, hit that sub, and I appreciate y'all watching. Thanks for stopping in. I'll catch y'all on the next one.